Red Balloon Rock Talk.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is episode 2. I'm not going to recount every episode as we do this, but anyhow, thank you for all those people who chimed in and checked us out over the week. Appreciate all of that, and hopefully you got something entertainment out of the whole thing. So this week we are talking about songs that should never be covered. In other words, the band that wrote the song. It's original. It's not a cover already. The music stands for itself. The band performed it, and nobody should be messing with that. And when I say this, I'm talking about all these people out there. Well, not all these people, but whoever is the genius behind elevator music. When you take a classic rock song and you put it to elevator quality music, strings and just okay, enough said with that. Um, but we have quite extensive lists here to go over today, and I'm pretty excited about mine. My guess is we're going to probably have some overlap here because there are truly some great classic songs out there that you just can't mess with. And that's our point for today's discussion. And obviously, everyone's going to have their own thoughts on this as well, but maybe you'll overlap with us a little bit and agree with us, and that's fine. At the end of the show today, I just want to remind you, after you've done this, hit the like button. We'd love to hear from you. Maybe hit a comment or two. Tell us how we're doing. Maybe even give us a show suggestion. We'll always certainly take that into stride as well. We love what we're doing here, and we're just going to continue having some fun. So, with that
and
being,
and definitely subscribe so you can stay on top of
yeah,
our content.
absolutely. All right, cool. So I think criteria wise, it's pretty self-explanatory, as I just said. We're looking at bands, not necessarily so influential, but the music that they produce, whether it's a single song. And by the way, there is absolutely no way that I could come up with my list without touching on some songs that when I did my research, I realized they were already covers. But the band that I love hearing it from took that already. So
Yeah, and
I'm
so
not
our hope is that the songs that we talk about today are, we've tried our best to make sure that they're original to whoever's doing it.
right, right.
Um, and I just want to add on part of the criteria for me, and it's not going to be completely across the board, but I chose particular songs, and my brother and I may have actually, some of our songs may overlap, but I think a lot of our bands may overlap, and we may be thinking different songs. But I chose songs that I felt really were the voice of the band, that by somebody else doing a cover takes away from the voice or the sound or the atmosphere that song represents for that band. And it would be so hard. Granted, I think there are some wonderful covers out there, but I think some of these songs that I've chosen would be really hard to hear from another band because it would take away from
Yeah,
the,
and I think when you see my list, especially as I get more into the modern stuff, um, you'll understand why. And I agree wholeheartedly with that comment, and I think that's something to consider as well. And the voice not necessarily meaning like the lead singer's voice or something like that. We're just talking about the overall
atmosphere of
musicality.
the audio recording, the sonic aspect of it. Why don't you
All
start?
right, so here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to give you five.
Okay.
My and by the way, these are in no particular order.
Yeah,
It's
mine are
just
way all over the map.
yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. So, believe it or not, my first one on the list here was "Tears for Fears." I'd love to change the world.
Yeah.
Great song. I don't care if you like the band or not, but they're a really good band live to listen to. So if you ever check anything out on YouTube and you want to check out some Tears for Fears, I think, if you grew up in the MTV age, you had the Shout video out there, the close up of his mouth going like, yeah, that's a little overwhelming. But as far as the music is concerned, I wasn't really into them back, in the 80s and 90s. It's more late early 2000s I started listening to him live, and I was so impressed with the quality. So
Sure.
that's definitely a song I think that marks that band, and is just a solid tune in general. I did Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon. um, can't get any more classic than that. I did Santana, Black Magic Woman, signature song from Santana. Can't go wrong with that. Carlos is amazing. Every time he picks up a guitar, I don't have anything I can really add to that. Here's a good one. Love this. I remember when it came out, but Joan Jett, I Love Rock and Roll. That was a big game changer for a female artist, doing what she was doing. This kind of broke the mold, I think. I was watching a documentary on her and the band and how things came around, but this is the song that like everyone started singing. They were on the radio and it was like, wow, that's Joan Jett. And that I think punched it through for her. But again, I couldn't imagine somebody singing that song other than her. Heart with Barracuda.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. I mean, they have so many hit songs out there, but Barracuda definitely stands out as being a super strong one for me. Yeah, so when you were talking about the atmosphere of the band, I think Barracuda and Heart, Wilson sisters, cranking it, just definitely. Absolutely amazing. So, all right, I'll let you get your next five, your first five.
So my first one was The Who, My Generation, and
nice.
They have a lot of songs and some have been covered but My Generation, even though if somebody were to cover it, really can't speak from the voice of what The Who did. I think that's a strong contender. Don't cover that one. My next one is Jefferson Airplane, White Rabbit.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because again, it's the just the whole sonic presentation, and it's one that is just so ingrained that it'd be hard to have that one covered. My next one is Kansas, Carry On My Wayward Son.
I got that one on my list too, so I'll make sure to cross that off. Yeah, you can't.
You can't cover that. And then
I saw Kansas live many years ago, and they played Carry On, and wow, and they put a good show on, just to say the least. I mean, musically speaking, it was strong. But gosh, I think that was back in 2000, 2001, somewhere in that range. Like man, it was great to watch that live.
Yep, and it would be very hard to hear a cover.
Good call.
Next one would be Leonard Skinner, Sweet Home Alabama. Again, that's their voice coming through, and it's an authentic voice of theirs. So I think that's a strong one. And then for my fifth one, before I switch over, is Beach Boys, Good Vibrations.
Oh, really cool. Classic, man. Classic.
You cannot, another group can't do that the same justice.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
So those are my first five.
Nice.
Not the top five. Again, they're not in any kind of particular order.
Yeah. So when I called you earlier this week just to verify whether or not we could add some pop music in there, I had to include this one for sure, because I would feel remiss if I did include Michael Jackson's "Beat It."
Yeah,
I grew up with that. We were both in high school when "Beat It" came out. Thriller, the album, was just like overwhelming for everybody. Even if you weren't into Michael Jackson, you still acknowledge it. When you think about everybody who wanted the leather jacket, the glove, the sequin glove, you were just that kind of cool if you had those things.
And I would add to that Billie Jean. I had Billie Jean. And
I was going to put Billie Jean down originally, but I thought "Beat It" was even stronger.
Yeah.
So for sure.
But I think those two would certainly. It would be hard to hear a cover of those. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Deep Purple, "Smoke on the Water." Three power.
Although everybody tries to play it.
And everybody goes to Guitar Center and picks it up and their Stairway to Heaven, or it's going to be this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. Deep Purple made a mark on the music world with "Smoke on the Water." Classic.
For sure.
Now I'm going back to The Who, and I actually have two from The Who that I need to put out there. Obviously, for everyone watching and listening, you're going to see that we play favorites. I think we have our very strong bands. I happen to be wearing one of my favorite bands. Jim's
I'm
wearing
wearing one of my favorites.
But we both love the Who. But mine is Eminence Front,
Ah,
and also Won't Get
yeah.
Fooled Again.
And won't get fooled.
Powerful tunes.
Yeah.
I could not imagine hearing it from anybody else. Roger Daltrey's voice is incredible. Pete Townsend and Eminence Front.
Yep.
What else can I say? It just wouldn't be right. It would be sacrilege to put another band out there trying to play that. Even if you were to keep true to the song, like not change it at all, just covering it, it's hard. I think it's really a great band, and these are two very, very prominent songs out there if you're a big fan. So anyway, my next one is Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA.
I have that one down too. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's so iconic.
Yep.
Rock and roll is Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen is rock and roll. I'm not a huge Springsteen.
He had a couple of songs that have been covered. The Manfred Mann one, and the song is out of my
It'll
brain.
come to you.
Yeah, but and they worked really well as covers. But Born in the USA, again, it's his voice coming through real strong, and you can't beat that. Good.
Nice choice there, right? And for this last one, and before I turn it over to you again, Don McLean's American Pie.
Ah,
Something a little bit different.
it is a little bit different.
You're not thinking about hard rock right now. You're thinking about something a little more on the mellow side. But how many times does that song come on the radio when you're in a car by yourself and you're singing "Bye Bye Miss American Pie"?
Yep.
And you got the chorus is there, and you're just humming along. You can't help it. It feels too good.
Yep.
If you were to put that to like a heavy metal kind of sound, it would just be gone. It'd be lost. Or if you were to change it in any way, I just think the sentiment in those lyrics are so powerful. His voice is really perfect for the song. So I can't imagine anyone doing that one over. So go ahead to your next one.
All right. So again, staying kind of in the pop realm, Bee Gees, Staying Alive. You cannot, it's such an iconic song and such an iconic sound. And even though it represents the height of disco, it is.
I'm going to say it, and I was biting my tongue.
Yeah. But it's such an extremely well produced album or song and album, but that song, and I'm not much into the disco sound, although there are some interesting things, but that one is such an iconic one. And, I to hear it in any other way, would diminish it. So that's probably one of my most, pop oriented ones besides Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. And my other one kind of on that realm of pop would be Prince's Purple Rain. That particular song, the guitar work, the sound, his voice coming through. Again, it's just not, it would not be able to be covered in a way that I would find to be interesting, I don't think. All right, so moving back into the rock realm, I'm returning to Pink Floyd. Two songs, Astronomy Domain. I think it's Domain. And sorry, I can't pronounce things. And then and another Brick in the Wall. Both of those are such iconic. One, Astronomy, is from their very first album, and such a psychedelic sound and such an original sound with the Syd Barrett approach. And then another Brick in the Wall, which was on the late side of their good stuff. And I don't think that could be reproduced in a way that would be effective. I'll give one more and then I'll turn it back. Actually, I'll give two more. One, the next one is Procol Harum's A Whiter Shade of Pale. And
okay, I don't see that. I don't know if it's a standout. I'm gonna probably say that right now. I love Procol Harum, but that's, it's a classic song, but I don't think it's something that if someone ever did a remake on it, I would be terribly bent out of shape on it.
I would.
Okay,
I just find the sound again.
opinion.
It's probably my just because I've heard it in its sonic form in so so many times, and it would just be hard to hear. And his voice in this particular case, the voice, the actual singing voice is rather iconic with that sound, and then with the way the organ goes between a non-tremolo to a tremolo sound, and just very without copying it almost verbatim, it would lose its power. So okay, and then the last one, and then I'll let you.
This one right here, the Procol Harum. I think you're stretching it on it. I'll give it to you, obviously, because it's your opinion. But I first off, disco's disco. I don't care what you say. Obviously, if you're gonna put the Village People out there, you're gonna have to do that too. So
no, not necessarily. I mean, not every disco song is created equal. There's just like not every rock song is created equal.
Well, that's why we're talking about these today. Yep. So it's our thoughts and opinions on what makes a really great song stand out, and it should never be touched. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here, is identify bands and songs that they've written that really exemplify that understanding of, wow, that's a masterpiece of a song that they put out there that no one should mess with or tamper.
Again,
especially for music.
Yeah, and again, if you're listening and have opinions or whatever, we would love to hear your comments. And
right to Rock Talk. Lead Balloon Rock Talk.
Don't get ugly with the comments, because these are all opinions, and opinions are valid for that person. So anyway,
unless they're
unless they're yours. So the last one I'm going to put out there, and I'll let you have your shot, is Donovan, Mellow Yellow.
Huh. Wow, you really went off on the mellow side. I thought I was stretching it with Don McLean, man. But
no. Again, so Donovan, and this is getting into the deep cuts, but
I almost put Arlo Guthrie's Alice's restaurant on here just because.
Yeah.
That's almost going. That's a story. So
it is a story, and it almost doesn't fall into what we call, the rock music or whatever, pop music. I mean, it's I think of it more like a folk song storytelling type thing, but anyway, yeah, so Donovan's Mellow Yellow. Again, it's a completely original voice and sound and
very diverse. I'm impressed with that one. That one's really coming out of your left pocket there. Very cool.
All right, let's keep pushing on.
You'll really like my next one. I have Yes, Roundabout.
I had that one. That was one of my next ones.
There you go. So yeah, I think you and I were thinking a lot alike on that one. I mean, that's a classic Yes song. There's nobody out there who even comes close to playing anything Yes anyway to start with. So let's be honest about that.
Yep.
I did Clearwater Revival, Born on the Bayou. I don't know how anyone could ever remake that one. And
I had Fortunate Son as well.
Well,
I think both of those, again, it's the sound of their recordings. It's the approach. Nobody had a sound CCR. And
I mean, there's only one of those. Anyway, CCR, I think, just had to be on that list, especially Born on the Bayou. Every time I hear it, it sounds fresh to me. I don't know why, but I really love just listening to that song. It's just got something that pulls you in, and it just I can just never hear that played any other way. So. Yep. So I'm going to talk about Leonard Skinner as well. I put Freebird on there.
Okay.
Because nobody should.
I thought about that one, but again, everybody yells out, "Hey, play Freebird!"
But the reason they're doing that is it's same thing with Stairway to Heaven. It's their iconic classic And if anybody plays that song other than Leonard Skinner, someone needs to hit him over the head with a kazoo or something. But just you can't mess with that song.
Yep.
And that's just the bottom line. I think everyone out there who watches this will agree with me on that one, that for anyone else to do it justice is just wrong. Ronnie Van Zant should, roll over in his grave if someone does that. Anyway, so I left this on the list because it's an original song, but people are covering it. And I put Rush's Tom Sawyer.
Okay.
You can't not have
That's
Tom
when I
Sawyer
left
on.
off. I left off Rush, but that's true. Tom Sawyer, that was when Rush really hit money with their
Red
sad.
Shadow, Limelight, Tom Sawyer, all of it. That album was amazing, and I think it's a masterpiece of an album. It's just unbelievable, great quality music, and there's such diversity within it. But Tom Sawyer, it's just it's crazy, and people who do try to cover that, it just doesn't do it justice. Geddy Lee's voice is so unique and original.
Yep. Exactly.
That song is so heavy. It's just such a great classic. All right, so moving along. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm going to end it with this one for my 5. You're going to love this one. Ready for this? Iron Maiden's Run to the Hills.
I forgot to put that one on my list. I was going to put that down. Yeah, that one, Iron Maiden's, that particular song.
Beast is such a great album. It was the first I was exposed to Iron Maiden. Fell in love with Maiden just because of that album, and it was the rest is history. Even though I'm a huge Dead fan, I can love these metal bands because their musicality is just all over the place, and it's so good and so powerful.
Yep.
I just had to have that on the list. So.
Yep. All right, I'm going to keep moving on. Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Lucky Man.
I considered that one too, and I'm like, there's not enough people out there that probably have heard that, unless you're of our generation or even a little older.
There are quite a few out there, and of our generation, and that particular song, just the flow of it, and then you have the iconic Moog synth line at the end of it that only Emerson could pull off. I mean, it's just one of those songs that nobody else can do it justice the way they did it.
Well, I'm not appalled by your choice at all. It's a great call for a song. But again, I'm like, if someone else does it, maybe I like it, maybe I don't. But
and that's going to be the case with all these songs. Everybody's going to have their opinion, and
that makes this is let's sidetrack for a second here, because let's think for a moment. Let's say they do a remake. What makes a good remake then? Should they hold true to the music and play it exactly and do their best rendition of it and keep it? And I gave you this example. I'm like, how many people have butchered the national anthem?
Yep.
I mean, the best renditions are where they're right the way it's supposed to be. It's all over the place, a cappella and drawn out, this or that. I don't need to hear your vocal range on the anthem. I'm sorry, it's just the national anthem. Play it the way it should be played. Just like these songs, if you're going to play it as a cover, I think you got to hold true to it. And I think that's any time, and do your best homage to replicate to the best.
Well, but then there's the other side where you're using the song as a starting off point, and then you change the arrangement, you change the whole feel of it. And I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. Devo did a cover of that song, and it is so completely different than the original, and yet in ways it works really well. And so you have covers that hold to very strictly to what was, and then you have covers that go
way off the deep end,
and that's a band's prerogative, and that's why we're talking about these are songs that in our ears, whether they do the straight ahead rendition or they do something out of left field, I think the song loses something. But anyway,
Yeah, I just I'm throwing that out there for anybody who's listening. That is a conundrum. What's your school of thought when it comes to a cover? Should you hold true to the original as best you can,
Yep.
and say, I'm going to attempt to do this, even though I know it's not going to be right, and admit that right from the start, or you're going to end up changing the song in such a way that it is almost a completely different song, other than maybe the lyrics and some of the chord structure.
Yep.
So I don't know how that would work out, but
Well, let's keep rolling down our list here because I don't want to make this video too long. But next one on my list is Peter Gabriel, Sledgehammer. And again, that's a song that it was such a huge hit. And it's just, again, I think it's Peter Gabriel had found his voice to, at where everything, all of his ideas were coming together. And that was one of many songs on that album. But again, it would be hard to make a cover that's convincing to my ears. Going on, Jimi Hendrix, Voodoo Child, Slight Return, and I double checked, and I can't seem to find anything that would suggest that that's a cover. I don't think it is a cover.
as far as it's not,
That it was an original that came about during some jam sessions in the studio. But again, and I know that Stevie Ray Vaughan has done cover of it.
well, Stevie Ray Vaughan does a lot of Jimmy's, so
and I
obviously
that one's a little questionable, only in that but he holds very true to what Hendrix did. But Hendrix is still the original voice on that.
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
cannot
And I
be
praise
replicated.
Stevie Ray Vaughan for doing just what you just mentioned, which is holding true to it. And you can hear definitely their licks are very different. Their sound is very different. Yet it's when Stevie plays Jimmy, you think of Jimmy at the same time as you're thinking of Stevie, and you're going, he's doing his justice.
Yep.
Never once, and I love Stevie Ray, and never once have I felt that Stevie Ray was trying to do anything other than tip his hat to Jimi Hendrix, and that's just the way it is. So, but that's holding true, and I think that's what I was saying earlier was when you hold true to a song and you play it with heartfelt, trying to make it as your own, but keeping it as original as possible, then you're doing it justice.
Yep.
So,
all right. Next one, let me give you two more. Next one is Led Zeppelin, Kashmir. Kashmir is one of those songs that, everybody tries to do Stairway to Heaven, at least in Guitar Center and places like that. But Kashmir, it's such a unique song, such a unique sound, such a unique way of approaching songwriting, and I just I can't hear it, I can't imagine it any other way than how they did it. And I've heard interviews with Robert Plant, and that's one of his favorites.
Yeah, I was just watching some stuff recently on Zeppelin and Jimmy Page and him talking about their different experiences with Morocco and things like that. And they're not afraid to go out there and hang out with local people and just jam with whatever instruments are around, whatever those instruments are, and change the vocals and just really, music is music. You know what I mean? I'm not a musician. I've tried to play every kind of thing under the sun. You are the musician, and I respect everybody's thoughts and opinions, especially when it comes to it, because it's so personal. But I'm one of those kids that grew up with the headphones on and the stereo up as loud as possible and just listening to albums over and over and over again and reading inside jackets, and looking at the pictures and just daydreaming constantly about wanting to be in that band or being able to hang out with them for a little while or whatever it would be,
Yep.
But,
and then the last one I'm going to say here is Eagles, Hotel California.
Yeah,
I know you've got that one.
Yeah, I had
talked about that. Good. So, in the interest of time, maybe we need to go through what we have remaining of our list a little quicker, and then do a wrap up.
All right. Well, you're gonna love this one. Ready for this? Black Sabbath, Iron Man.
Okay.
Right.
I had War Pigs.
I almost put that one down too, but I think more people no Iron Man, but
Yeah.
that's something that you can't replicate. I
Yep.
mean, you could, but it's not something you
Not
should
in
replicate.
not in the same way.
Exactly. I put Van Morrison's Brown Eyed Girl.
Oh,
How many parties have you ever been to and it's playing or
Yeah.
it plays or what? It's on. You go to a bar or you whatever. You always hear Brown Eyed Girl at some
Yep.
point in the day. It's that iconic. I put U2 Where the Streets Have No Name.
off of that same album, I had Bullet the Blue Sky.
Yeah, that's a good tune too. But I think
Because not
Streets
only
Have
is it a good tune, but it's also the the sonic atmosphere that the Edge produces with his guitar on that song. That's what gives that song the weightiness, the intensity, the draw to it. That I don't care who covers it. It'll be inauthentic to me.
I love the video to The Streets Have No Name. That's
And that-
such
yeah.
a cool thing. Where you sit on the rooftop and
Yep.
just really spur the moment. And you just capture that live. And I think that just explains a lot about who they are as a band too, but the song itself, the title of the song has so much depth in it just alone. So
Yep.
I had to choose that one. So
Excellent.
my next one is the Beatles.
Okay.
That's right, the Beatles. After last week's episode, the Beatles, Strawberry Fields.
Yeah.
All right.
That's very true. Yeah.
The next one I'm going to give you is Van Halen, and this one's going to catch some people probably, but fair warning. That is such a great song. It's so heavy. It's a little bit on the darker side for Van Halen, as opposed to something like Jump. But if you listen to the guitar work in that, even the vocals are really strong.
Yep.
And it's just a really different song for Van Halen. And I think that's why I like it so much. And I think that's why I put it on my list, is that I don't think you could really do justice to that song if you were to redo that. So anyway,
And
I'm
just
going to
as
give
a
you
side
two more.
note, I would say, something like Eruption, even though it's an Eddie Van Halen solo feature, again, either you do it as, true to note for note, but even then it's a copy, and why listen to a copy? Or if you change things up, you take away from it. But anyway.
So yeah, next one I think definitely is a keeper here is Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle.
Ah,
I mean, Appetite for Destruction put them on the map really quickly within like months of them releasing that album. Welcome to the Jungle. I don't know of anybody who doesn't know that song.
Yep.
Unless you are like very old, and I'm getting there. And then I'm going to do another one, and this is more modern, but I mentioned this band last week, which was Tool.
Okay.
And the song is Sober. These more modern bands, and I call them modern because they're more like, they're not in my age bracket, if you will, but
Right.
I love listening to really great music, and Tool is just one of those bands that kind of just emerged out of thin air to me. And when I heard Sober for the first time, I was like, wow, that really just sucked the breath right out of me for a second there. So yeah, Sober is, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up, and definitely listen to it, and you'll see why I'm saying nobody else can play it like Tool, and definitely that should be on there. So
Excellent.
all right, I'm going to give you one more because it's a twofer.
Okay.
And we already brought this band up a couple times, and it's the Stones.
Yep.
And I put Sympathy for the Devil.
So did I.
All right. And you can't always get what you want.
Yeah.
It's just two classic songs right off the bat. How many Stones songs can we say that about, though? You know what I mean? It's just, they've been around so long, have written so much music.
Yep.
It's there. You
And
can't
some
not
things I
go
think
on.
can be covered well, but I think some songs like Sympathy for the Devil, definitely it's their voice, and it can't be done with the same authenticity.
I agree. And again, listening to Mick Jagger singing, you can't always get what you want. There's a slight English twang in his voice, and it's so crystal clear.
Yep.
You couldn't have anybody else do it. And I would expect that noise or that sound of his voice to resonate
and any remix as well. And if I didn't hear it, I'd be disappointed.
Yep.
So.
All right,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna finish up my list here. I've got about 7, and I'm just gonna go through them pretty quickly. So next on my list is King Crimson, 21st Century Schizoid Man, and I know you've had issues with that, but there,
I don't think it falls into the criteria at all.
Yeah, it does.
At all. First off, how many people are going to know the band King Crimson? Yes,
Well, I think there are a few that do.
But there's no way. I mean,
yeah, that song, but that song in particular, if you know King Crimson and you follow King Crimson, this was off their very first album. Again, it's just one, and it was it had a lot of influence on later progressive bands. You know, it definitely influenced Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It definitely influenced Yes, and many of the other progressive bands that came after it. Without King Crimson, I don't think you'd have quite the movement, the progressive movement. And 21st Century Schizoid Man also was very heavy and had a lot of influence in the metal world. If you look at the people who have broken this down, so I put that in there. I know for you it's it's a bit of a stretch.
I love King Crimson. I have albums right here, but it's like.
Well, I had to put them on there. So
I know you're just different. Like
moving ahead, next is David Bowie, and for me, Heroes cannot be reproduced because that was such a experimental sound to begin with, and what they came out with Heroes was incredible. And then I'm going to put one of his very last, and that's Black Star, because it was he put that album out. It was released a couple days before he died, and it really was his requiem to himself, and so it was his voice completely and can never be covered. So those are my 2 Bowie songs. Did you have any Bowie?
That's good. I'm glad you covered Bowie because I didn't, and I should have, and I regret not doing that. But yeah.
But those 2 songs in particular, and then moving on, Queen, Bohemian. What's that?
I said I could think of a few other ones, but go ahead.
Yeah, Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. You and I have talked about that.
Yeah, I was going to do that.
Yep, can't be replicated. Next one is Metallica. 1.
Ah, ooh, good. I have a Metallica on here, but it wasn't that, and I'll get to that later on the ending of the list.
Yeah, 1. Again, it's just I remember when I first encountered that song, I was like, "Whoa, that's intense." Again, it's just one of those things. What Metallica did you have?
I did Nothing Else Really Matters, and
okay.
How could you not?
Yeah.
That is very cool. Just, I think that epitomizes Metallica. They probably would have some other words to say to me, but for somebody who loves listening to music, it is not mainstream, but it has a mainstream quality to it. But when they play it, in fact, here's what I'm going to go out on a limb and say: nobody should cover any Metallica song. Period. All right. So anybody who's a Metallica fan out there, I'm on your side, and I think you'll resonate with that. It's just too hard of a sound to replicate, I think, personally.
Yep.
But there is only one Metallica, and we can say that about all these bands, but really in the metal genre, I love Iron Maiden and their speed. Metallica, they were playing the same kind of stuff, and not same kind of stuff, but just that heavy grinding. And then you come in here with Nothing Else Matters, which just slows things down for them, and it's such a change, but it is such a powerful tune. So
cool.
Go ahead and finish.
All right. So next, one of my most, I have 3 more. Next is Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name.
I should have put Rage over there. Yes.
Yep. Killing in the Name. Protest song, outrage song. It spoke volumes in terms of anger and protest, and
you know what? As we speak today, that all would come is very, very true to today.
It is.
Turn on the news. You could play any one of those songs as a background.
Yeah, I know.
the news,
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
would make absolute
I
sense. They
think
were
it's
speaking.
timeless in its protest and in its anger. And again, they say it, I think, like nobody else can.
Well, when you have a Harvard grad on guitar,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
should speak volumes, right
Yep.
there. You know what I mean? They're not stupid people.
Yep.
They dedicate themselves to a craft. They take it seriously, and you can't go
Yep.
wrong. But yeah, anything that they do is out there, and it's like, wow, yeah, good call on that one. That's another like Bowie call that I've missed.
Yep. And then Radiohead, Paranoid Android. Again, this is more in the contemporary. I love Radiohead.
Oh yeah.
And I think much of their stuff would be hard to cover it, but I think that song in particular, Paranoid Android, is would be really difficult to come across with a convincing cover for me. And then my final one is the White Stripes, Seven Nation Army. Again, there's a sound. It's used all over the place. At sporting events, it's become the new chant at sporting events and things like that. But again, there, I see that as an homage to that, to Jack White and the White Stripes, and that song cannot be covered. People want it just the way it is, and that's how they've taken it. So that is what I've come up with so far. So let's have you
Oh,
finish up.
all right, all right. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got about 10 of them left here. So without question, ACDC's for those about to rock, and this is a twofer. We're gonna go rock and roll ain't noise pollution.
Okay, a lesser known one.
No,
No.
no. Oh my God, no.
Okay.
Plug it in after we're done, and you'll go. Oh yeah, okay, I got it. This one's gonna throw you off, and it'll throw a lot of people off. But people who do know me know that I love Pantera and Walk.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with it, ever. Samuel's voice is just, you know, I don't know how
Okay.
he does it, but Steve Miller Band, Fly Like an Eagle,
Yeah.
all-time classic.
Yeah.
Can't miss that. Steve
Yep.
Miller. Journey, Don't Stop Believing. This is a twofer, and Any Way You Want It. But every time I listen to Any Way You Want It, all I can think of is Rodney Dangerfield and Caddyshack and the golf course scene.
Okay.
Getting it up, and we're jamming that tune out on the golf course. So, but no, I mean, Journey, Don't Stop Believing. It's in every wedding. It's at proms. It's you name it. It's everywhere. It's so versatile, so widely respected. Anybody who covers that should just that's it.
Beaten over the head with a kazoo.
Kazoo, exactly. We already talked. No, we didn't. The Eagles, Hotel California.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I brought that up.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so these next few, there's only 3 more on my list here. Wait, 1, 2, 4 more. You're gonna be shocked when I say this, but the next 2 that I'm gonna give you, both songs, I don't know how both worked out this way, but anyway, both songs are basically like their signature tune, and there is only one band that can perform them, and that is Saliva, Click Click Boom.
Okay.
Very
I'm not familiar
iconic.
with that one.
Well, you're gonna have to go listen to this.
I think I will.
POD.
Okay.
Here Comes the Boom. It's been in movies. It's out there. A lot of people know it. Younger generation loves listening to this. And I'm in my classroom and I crank up music while they're working. Sometimes this ends up on the radio, and it's never like, oh, turn it off. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But,
Okay.
we talked about this, you and I, earlier in the week, which was Living Color, Cult of Personality.
Yeah.
I think that band was underrated, and I think it got gypped, is what I think. I think that they needed to spend a little bit more time out there in the mainstream. I think people needed to give them more of a chance.
Yep.
Cult of Personality left its mark in music history, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Great song.
A lot of reasons. Great tune. And last but not least, you're going to love this one. I think everyone else will too, but Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Ah,
Give it away.
okay. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Play it. Come on, there is only one flea.
Well, yes. Yes.
There is only one flea. But just the
And we could do a
roar of
whole
the tongue.
topic on amazing bass players for sure. And
Yeah, for sure.
because the tremendous players all had interesting personalities and an interesting way of playing, and Flea definitely has his way of playing, which is unique to him. And yeah, I agree. That song is one of those songs by them that it's a signature
beat
tune for them. Yep.
Could you imagine that as an elevator song for a moment? Just think about that.
Yeah,
You're standing in the elevator, nobody's in the elevator, you hit the button, all of a sudden this comes on, you're like,
Yep.
what? Is that what I'm thinking?
How about Killing in the Name? As an elevator song. No, it doesn't work. So, but
Yeah, anyway. So I love this. This was a fun week for me, just kind of writing down all these songs and just really thinking about things. And it forced me to go back and do some homework and double check on some things. And
well, and I
it's
think
amazing.
I think
Song.
yeah, and hopefully people see that we're trying to be. We have a range of music, and we're not even we didn't stray very far from the rock realm. We did. I added one disco tune, and I added a couple. We each added a couple pop things and maybe a folk thing, but
like a scratch and sniff of rock and roll that we're doing.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, I can tell. I can tell you that my tastes are extremely eclectic. I listen to all kinds of stuff, but this is hopefully our approach this week was not too focused, too narrowly focused. I don't think it was. I think a lot of food for thought. And for those that are listening, and again, if you found this to be interesting and want to give us a couple comments, we tried to do our homework in terms of these being original songs, but one or two may have slipped through that were covers. I don't know. But our hope was that all these were original to the artists that we talked about. And if you found this to be interesting, hit the subscribe button, like button. What's that?
So give us a thumbs up. Hit the like.
Yeah,
button.
give us a thumbs up. Again, these are opinions, and everybody's opinion it matters to that person. And no hate. This is not about hate. This is about love. And so keep
one love, man. One love. Rastafari.
That's right. And then, so for next time, and our hope is that we can put we would like to post a video once a week on Sundays if possible. But our next topic right now, what we're exploring is talking about how we label things. In other words, what is rock and roll? What is rock? What is pop? And a few other terms, but how, what is our definition of these? Because we are talking about rock. We are talking about pop, and I think it helps to have some sense of terminology, and I think and having some bands that fall under each one, and you'll find too that some bands don't fall neatly under one particular label, and so I think that's so like the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, and by the way, before you go any further, a belated happy birthday to Mr. Jerry Garcia. Yesterday was his birthday. Sadly, he's been gone with 25 years now.
25 years, yeah. Yep.
So
on that note, don't want to end on a down note, but but yeah, I mean, we're looking to our topics are going to be far ranging, and hopefully interesting to be engaged with as a listener and viewer. So again, thumbs up if you like what you witnessed today, and hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
You good, everybody. Stay safe.